All right, we're back here for another episode of Cover 2 with Justin and the Preacher.
Hello, everybody. You know, Justin, this is the last few days without college football. This Saturday, it kicks off. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It really is.
It's not Christmas, football season.
It's the way I spend my Saturdays in the fall.
That's right.
I just wake up, watch College Game Day. SEC Nation, I think, is another one I like to flip back and forth, and then just catch the big games of the day.
Be as lazy as possible. So Tennessee opens up September the 2nd, so another week for them. They play Virginia at Nissan Stadium in Nashville. We got Vanderbilt in Hawaii this Saturday, representing the Commodores. 6:30, First Bank Stadium, and then it all gets rolling. But we're already in the midst of high school. I don't know if you heard, but Dickson County played a pretty important game this past week. They played Creekwood. Creekwood and Dickson County played this past week and went the way of Dickson County for the first time in a few years.
It's been a while. I think 2018 was the last time that Dickson County won that game, so I'm sure they were very excited at the end of that game, as I could evidently see. So
so I've been doing color commentary this season for Creekwood. Love those guys out there. Love Coach Thiel and the job he's doing there. And so it was hard watching that one. I didn't have a rooting interest, but calling that game was interesting because you got kids on both sides that you're really rooting for and you want to see do well. And I think overall, we call it the game that means nothing but means everything. Mm-hmm. I think overall it worked out in the way of Dickson County, but I think Creekwood's got a good season ahead. I really walked away thinking that Creekwood's going to be okay with all those skill players.
Oh, yeah. I think both teams had a lot to be proud of and a lot of things they could see some potential in. I think we both saw that as we were, calling the game on Friday night. But, both teams, obviously there's things that they can work on. But both teams, I saw a lot of potential in a lot of spots. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how that develops as the season goes on.
Yeah. So, Dickson County's got Columbia next game. It'll be at home. That will be televised as well as on the radio. And then you've got Creekwood travels to Hohenwald, play Lewis County. Don't know much about them, but they're looking to get on track with a win there. Dickson County's looking to keep things rolling with Columbia. Don't know much about Columbia either, but I'm sure our guests today are going to tell us. Yeah. So we got Aden Cardona, Legatron, the kicker for Dickson County, and we've got Elijah Fernandez, the utility do-all linebacker, running back, slot, the machine, with us on the show today. Guys, thank you. I'm trying to get Justin get an applause machine, so it sounds like we got a big crowd. We've got you can't see him on camera. We got Xander in the studio as well. Say something, Xander.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so he's sitting over here. He's joining us too. So, hey, guys, thank you for coming on. I want to talk first of all about the game Friday night. I mean, what was that like? Your experience with the you were in this game last year as a freshman, and you were there as well. But talk about you guys were you played a key hand in this year. What was that like?
I mean, it was just great. Like for the first couple of years. I'm not playing too much my freshman year, obviously, but sophomore year got to kick off and was dealing with an injury. But this year, I mean, it just felt like we came into that game ready to roll. We just felt like we were the better team and the more mature team. We felt like it was our turn to win, and we just felt like we were ready to roll, and we were going to embarrass them. I wouldn't say embarrassing, though, it was super close, really, the whole time until the very, last minutes of the game. I mean, I was worried about missing an extra point. That's always tough, missing one of those. But
we said that on the radio. We're you always hope that didn't come back to haunt you, But it looked good. I called it good from where I was at. So what happened? It looked good to me.
The snap and hold was perfect. It was great. I think maybe some nerves.
Did it miss right?
Yeah, just right.
Because I told Justin it looks like it's good, and then they called it no good. So
just right a little bit. I don't think I fully swung my leg through, and it just hooked out a little bit to the right. And I mean, that's always tough on me because it's free points.
Sure.
Who doesn't want them points?
Yeah, there's a lot that has to go right though on that. You've got to snap, you've got to hold, you've got to kick. And for those viewers that don't know, Aden is also the goalie on the soccer team, which your dad is the coach as well. And so you've got a lot of experience kicking. So. Yeah,
and most people are like, "How do you play?" With such pressure like that? Because most fans there, they're just gonna blame that kicker, or he's like, "Oh, come on, I can make that," But there's so much more than just the kick leading up to that.
Absolutely. And I think people forget sometimes you guys are not professionals, like your high school kids. Elijah, what was your thoughts going into the game? Were you as confident? I mean,
I was just as confident as confident gets. I was just the feeling that, we worked all summer, and we just came out there and, I felt like we owed them one. The year prior, I felt like we let that one slip, especially with that late game holding call, or that face mask, actually. It was on me. Yeah. And I stripped the ball, took it home for 6. They called it back.
Thought the game was over, thought you won it?
I mean, I saw the flag. I knew it was coming. Yeah. But I didn't really believe in the throwing of the flag. So
well, of course you didn't. That wasn't face mask.
Of course I wouldn't. But, and so, I felt like we owed them one just from the get-go. I knew that we were a better team, and I felt like we were just better prepared, and just really what I'm proud of from that game is that 0 on the scoreboard. Yeah, I mean, a win is a win, obviously, but a shutout and me starting linebacker, that's something to be proud of.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
and it was really close, and we were on the radio talking about it. You don't want to be negative, but I mean, it was really a hard game to call because it was an ugly game. I mean, let's just be honest. It was a really ugly game. You would have each team might get a rip off a 10 or 20 yard play and then 3 penalties, so you back up like 30 yards. And I think there was several times where it was at least 3rd and 20 or, 2nd and 25. And, it was really tough until right before the half. And Hungersmeyer catches that pass from Dotson and goes in to score. And then, Justin and I both talked about it. We said, well, 6-0's probably not going to hold up in this game. And then you get halfway through the second half, we're like, 6-0 may be enough the way this game is going. And then you guys tack on 2 at the end. Talk a little bit about the strategy going into that game. What were the keys? We talked about some keys we thought were important. What was being harped on in practice all week before that game?
Go ahead.
For special teams, Coach L is our kickoff guy. He's a great coach. Love him. He was saying, pooch it up real high in the left, not into the end zone, just right about the 10, 5-yard line. Give us time for our guys to get down there and make that tackle. And I thought that went pretty well, so far throughout that game. And I hit some of probably the best kickoffs I've ever hit in my career. And then for punting, I mean, it was like just try to punt them either right at them, get a lot of air time, or just punt it away or out of bounds. Like, there was one punt, I maybe only got like 20, 30 yards, but he told me just punt it like right out of bounds, so the guy had no chance to return it. And that was just nice to get it right out of bounds, put them at like the 20-yard line, 25.
Yeah, because I can imagine y'all were trying to keep they got so many skill guys. You got Xavier Knight, you've got DeMattis Henderson, you got Brendan Adams, you got Jaden Elliott. I mean, these guys can flat run. Will McKinnon. So I'm sure y'all were game planning against them, right, Elijah?
Yeah. From a defensive standpoint, our guys were just told to stay at home. We were told to watch the RPO. That was a big thing. And they caught us with one early on I think it was like their second drive maybe. Yeah. They caught us with an RPO. And so, I mean, after that, everybody was home. Everybody was playing their gaps. I got sent a lot that game. I ended up with 5 tackles for loss. And so, from a defensive standpoint, we were just prepared, ready. Everybody knew their job. And on offense, we made adjustments the week of the game. Just to scheme like against Creekwood. Yeah. And it was difficult on Monday, Tuesday, just knocking the kinks out. And but as the week went on, we got the playbook down, and we got rolling, and it showed. So
it's interesting because Wyatt Gramling comes in, you're running the ball. That's what y'all want to do. That's what Coach T loves to do. And then Ray Dotson comes in, and now you look like Creekwood. You're running a spread offense, and he's throwing the ball around the field. And Justin and I were like, what is going on here? Now all of a sudden you're running a whole different offense, and it provided a spark. And then I assume what happened later in the game, you bring Wyatt back in so you can run the ball and control the clock, and seemed to work to perfection. Was that kind of what was the thought process?
That was exactly what the thought process was, just to find a spark somewhere, and it happened to be the quarterback position. And Ray got us that 6. Did what he needed to do. Wyatt got back in there and did what he needed to do. Yeah. And offense started executing better and better it was the first game, so nobody's going to be perfect, obviously, especially first game. But and so as we got going, we picked up momentum, especially with a bunch of stops, lots of opportunities on offense, and we capitalized when we could.
Yeah.
And
I thought, once you got that score, I think it was kind of like, wow, there's a little bit of relief that we can actually score.
Yeah.
And then, Creekwood had several opportunities there that, there were a couple of times I told Justin if Jaden Elliott's fingernails were a little longer, it might have been different because they were just so close to breaking a couple of plays. Actually, it was about 4 or 5 that they were so close to breaking them. And, Brendan had that one catch. And, I felt so bad for Brendan because I've been in that position before playing the receiver position. But, they were so close. And that's why we walked away thinking they're going to be okay. They're definitely got some skill players and are going to be all right. What about you guys? How do you get over this? Because it was a big win, and we talked about with the coaches how this game really means nothing, but it means everything, right?
Yeah.
But in the standings, your whole season is still nothing's affected by this game, standings wise or playoffs wise or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So how do you put that one behind you? Say it was great, we won it. It was a rivalry game, first rattle out of the box. Now we got to go forward with the games that really matter. How do you put that behind you? How do you stay grounded?
Right. I think you just you realize like that was a great win. It felt good to not lose your first game of the season and just put you in that slump.
Yeah.
Because that game can literally make your season have
make or
4 or
break.
5 more wins, or like you could maybe only walk out that season with like 3 wins if you lose to Creekwood.
Yeah.
And you got to focus. You just got to move from week to week. And I would love to go play in November and Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Like that would just feel amazing just to like be practicing football on Thanksgiving break. Like that would just be such a different atmosphere with the school.
Yep.
And I think everybody would be excited. I would like to go to the regional championship or
Mm-hmm.
district. Like I would love, because I love kicking. It's like probably one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
Keeps me out of soccer. And, I like soccer season.
Yeah.
But I like it when it's soccer season.
Yeah.
I like football when it's football.
Yeah.
And it's always fun just to like hang out with this team because it's much different from my other sport. And I think the team atmosphere, like the family, like I feel like we're a family, like we're just bonding, and it's not like nobody's really negative. Everything's super positive, and practice doesn't feel horrible, even though it's like 103 degrees outside.
So it does kind of set a tone,
Right,
doesn't it?
yeah.
We talked about that with the coaches as they were worried about that because they said even though it doesn't mean anything, it really can, kind of send you in a slump or on a high. Elijah, how intentional were the coaches today to say, look, it was great, it's over?
And actually, Coach T did make a point today as we were on defensive scout. We were on defense with the offensive scout, and we had guys on the sideline just talking and laughing, whatever, just in their own world. And Coach T was like, "Hey guys, we were focused last week against Creekwood. Why can't we bring that into the next week, into the next week, into the next week, so that we can win?" Because I do believe Coach T said last year it starts with practice on that Monday. Mm-hmm. And it carries on how you practice through that week is how you're going to play throughout that week.
Absolutely.
And so, Coach T made his point clear. I think that now that, we're like, okay, Creekwood's over, on to the next. And it just starts with us, and we got to stay focused and watch our film, know what to do, and stay disciplined, head down and work.
Yeah, because you can kind of erase the excitement of that game if you lose the next one.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a win for just a win just to put on a board, and then
if you go 1-9, your win's Creekwood.
Right.
Which that's not going to happen. So talk a little bit about that. Your season, there's a lot of buzz around both schools, and we talked about that. This county seems to be excited about Creekwood and about Dickson County. Talk a little bit about the season, because I know y'all are optimistic. I know your coaches are optimistic, thinking we can win some games this season and go pretty far. What are the expectations? What do y'all think?
I set a 10-0 expectation.
Good.
Because without that expectation, what am I going to do whenever I get to, okay, let's say I say we go 7-3, mm-hmm. and let's say we're 6-3. Or let's say we're 7-2, and we're onto that last game of the year. Okay, so I got that 7-3 record in the back of my mind. Mm-hmm. What am I going to do? Go out there and expect to lose? Yeah. I don't step on the field thinking that, okay, this team across from me is better than me, and I'm just not going to play hard, because that's not why I play football.
Yeah.
And so, it's a matter of pride and it's a matter of confidence.
Play to win, right?
Play to win.
Yeah.
Play to win. So, yeah.
I think we should be able to win lots of games this year just because looking at our schedule, I mean, we have some tough games like Clarksville, and then Creekwood was like from last year, they were the only two teams that had a winning record.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we can. I mean, Rossview's always going to be hard, but we should be able to rack up some wins, and we should be feeling very confident going in that district, championship, semifinal. I think just overall the atmosphere has been much different around locker room, practice, school, and games.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. The culture, I hear that a lot. I hear that word thrown around with you guys, that the culture's different. That Coach T came in and he set a new culture. Talk a little bit about what he's done.
It's more controlled, and it's super positive. Like, practice is not just like you don't know what you're gonna wear. Like, I remember my freshman year, we didn't know sometimes what we were gonna wear, if we were wearing like shells or full pads or just our jerseys and helmets for a walkthrough. He has gotten everything controlled, and he keeps his discipline, and the locker room is much more like, it's like a professional team, like a college team. Like, I feel like we're mature enough that we have grown up, because a lot of us last year were sophomores starting.
Yeah.
That's almost our entire team. And now we're all juniors, and I feel like we've all kind of grown up. And it's matured, and I'm trying to be that junior that I want to be to that freshman,
Yeah.
You don't want a junior who's not the nicest guy around. You kind of want that guy. He's always like giving you compliments, going to the JV games, giving you a handshake.
I love that. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. What do you think?
I think that the culture is. I mean, I wasn't here whenever Coach T wasn't there.
Yeah.
But what I've experienced is Coach T is actually making a difference. Whether it's like from water break to just offensive individual. He's okay, guys. We're up and running. Let's go. Walking on the field. We're business when we're on the field, and we're going.
Yeah.
Same thing in the weight room. Weight rooms going. Everybody's working. And I think to myself sometimes whenever I feel like I don't want to do, like if I don't want to do something, or if I want to take a rep off, or if I just want to take my helmet off on the sideline or anything, I'm thinking about my freshmen under me, and I'm setting the example for these guys, and they're going to be my guys for the next 3-4 years. And so I think with my example, and if I set a good one, these guys will follow right behind me, and we're going to step forward, and just be a better team every day.
Yeah. Yeah, you can tell. There's definitely a difference around the program, and that's one thing. You're a sophomore, you're a junior, and if you look down the roster, a lot of underclassmen. And Coach T was sitting in here talking about how special the freshman bunch is. So there's a lot to look forward to in this program, right?
Yes, sir.
Coach T even said, we're looking for having an exciting year, but we're probably a year away. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I love our senior class, especially on the defensive end of the ball.
Yeah.
We got McCaleb down, his fingers in the dirt.
A beast.
Yeah. We got Isaiah right beside me at linebacker. We got a few. Malachi, Isaiah. We got guys all around the field.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's just really a blessing to play with these guys. I played with them my 6th grade year at Burns.
Yeah.
I play with a couple of these guys, and so it just feels good to come back up here and actually win some games with these guys. At Burns, we went 0-8, and then next year, 7-1, 8-0. So
so let's keep that rolling, right?
Keep it rolling.
What about? Oh, go ahead, Aden. Okay. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good. I think the seniors have. The past couple of years, we didn't always have like the most mature seniors. I loved them all, but they needed to kind of set an example for those juniors and seniors that were there. And this group of seniors, they've kind of filled in that role of being like that mature, like almost older brother, and they're just there, and they're ready to like teach you and learn. And I would like to look forward to being a senior and being like that to those younger guys. The example they've set is very high, and it's very respected.
Yeah, I noticed at the team meal, which Walnut Street did for you guys the first game, I noticed a lot of you guys helping serve, cleaning up. I know some of that is forced, but it was very respectful. Coach T had your attention. I could tell. I spoke to you guys, and I know I didn't do the best job, but y'all were all nice to me and everything. So very, very much an atmosphere of respect and attention. And let's talk about this. What does the team need to do to improve? Let's set penalties aside because we know that has to happen. Both teams need to fix the penalty situation because there was a lot of penalties Friday night. But besides that, what are y'all working on? What do you think you need to improve on going forward?
I think Coach T said today in practice or Monday, I can't remember, but he said we only had like 40 or like 38 offensive plays, and they're wanting like 50 or 60 to keep that defense off the field and give them a break and get them some water and let them rest. And I wouldn't mind that either because I wouldn't mind having to punt every couple of drives, Right. But it's always nervous, like there was one at Creekwood that went over my head and I felt like a quarterback.
Well, we
scrambling.
talked about it when you came in to punt out of your own end zone. That's always scary.
That's
for the snapper and for you.
I'm like praying before, when they're on like their 10 or 5. I'm like, come on, guys, give me a first down here. I'm not trying to get out of my end zone. Exactly. But it's all, I mean, I think if we can get that, our defense was amazing on Friday. I mean, that's probably what won us the ball game right there. Just like them, just keeping Creekwood at 0. I mean, that was just amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was. What do you think? What do you think we need to improve on?
I just think knowing your responsibility and executing. I think that those two. If all 11 on the field know the responsibility and execute, I think we shouldn't have a problem this year. Yeah, we're definitely a lot stronger, a lot faster, and a lot more experience. And I think that's what we lacked last year.
Yeah.
And so I just believe that. Everybody stays home, does their job, and players are going to start forming and opening for us on offense, defense. All the gaps are going to be closed. Everybody's going to be right there on the ball. All 11 guys. Yeah. I just think that's what we need as a team. We do a great job now, but I think if we just perfect knowing our job and executing, we'll be perfect.
What do you think going forward? Who's the team to beat? Like if you want to win your district, your region, who do you have to beat?
Clarksville.
Clarksville, and I'm from my soccer. I don't like Rossview too much. I'd like to beat them.
Yeah, they seem to be a thorn in our side in a lot of sports.
Yeah. Basketball.
Yeah, I know when I was helping with the baseball team, Rossview was really good. Clarksville was really good. Those were the same two teams you circled in baseball too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, in basketball they got the best of us. And I think in like region or something, it was like, they got us late on in the tournament. Yeah, and we ended up playing Memphis Overton. But
what do the two of you want to do personally to improve? Hey, what do you need to work on to improve?
I think I need to just get better more consistently on punts. I would like, because I hit one at Beach, and when we were scrimmaging them, and it was like 50 yards from my own end zone. It spiraled. It was probably the best punt I've ever hit in my life. Like it was very nice. Just getting the punts out a little faster, and just a little more yardage, and then. I'd like to obviously make some PATs. My goal this year, I told Coach Spears and Coach T, I was like, I'd just love to hit like one game-winning field goal or just a field goal.
Yeah.
Just one of those.
That's kind of the dream for a kicker, right?
Yeah.
And you only kick, so that's a nice luxury for DC to have. They've got a true kicker. Soccer players, my son's a soccer player, they tend to make really good kickers. So, a little different than kicking a soccer ball, but yeah.
With the football, you got to keep your leg completely straight, and you can't hook it too much to the right. Because with the soccer ball, you're falling through your body, and so every time I come back from soccer season and I haven't done too much kicking, I always just kind of get it a little bit to the right. That's about it. And then once you get in the summer, I'm doing football like 3 hours a day. I'm just trying to perfect that and get back into like where I was that past season.
Gotcha. Yeah. What about you, Elijah? What are you working on to improve this season?
I think me personally on the field, I'm doing a good job. Obviously, I have room for improvement, but I feel like off the field is where if I improve, we improve. Yeah. And so I feel like just being a leader, and I think I'm doing a pretty good job right now overall. Yeah. But I just think that if I take my leadership to the next level, guys will come right behind me, and we'll just step forward, and that's all I think about really. Just if I do this, okay, what's the guy next to me gonna do? Is he gonna step up, or is he gonna go down with me because I'm going down? So I just think, if I'm being a leader and I'm taking the team up here, then we're going to go up there, and we're going to be better as a team.
I tell you, coaches love that stuff. Everything y'all have said, every coach loves that stuff, right? I mean, Justin, you have any questions for these guys?
No, I mean, I love hearing, I'll be honest with you, I just kind of love hearing the behind the scenes stuff, especially with Aden talking about the difference between kicking a soccer ball and kicking a football.
Yeah.
I just find that kind of fascinating as somebody who's really been a soccer player but never really got the chance to be on a football field. I kind of envy him. I think that's just really cool that he kind of gets to do both, and really interesting just hearing, some specifics that only the players would give us, and so I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I've enjoyed that too. We're going to have a couple of Creekwood guys on next week, and I'm looking forward to getting their perspective on their season as well, because it's interesting to me to hear you guys talk about the inner workings of the team and kind of how day to day goes. And it sounds like right now things could not be better. You got Columbia this week coming to our place. I say our place. When I have Creekwood in here, I'll talk about we and our there too, because I do their games as well.
Yes, sir.
It's just kind of a habit. But talk a little bit about Columbia. We typically wrap up the podcast by talking about upcoming games and things like that. We're going to let you do that since you're here. Right. What do we need to know about Columbia?
We were watching film, and even though I am a kicker, I always like watching film, just looking at what they're going to do or what I have to do for kickoff. It seems they are very athletic and fast.
Okay.
But the one thing they are struggling with is their discipline.
Okay.
They're undisciplined.
Okay.
And they run a farther, like they're like 10, 15 yards away from our receivers when they're doing coverage. So we're just planning on throwing that short, quick slant, short 3-yard pass, getting those 3 yards every single time and get that first down and just work the clock. And then when they readjust to that, we can use our running game and we can maybe go shot deep or something like that for a pass.
Yeah. What have you seen on film that?
Well, I start middle linebacker, so from a defensive standpoint, I know exactly what their offense is looking to run smash mouth football, and then maybe try and catch a slip in with some crossers or maybe another crosser outside, maybe like a post wheel, something like that. And they run a 7 front, they run 2 tight ends, or they'll shift their backs all over the place, but they normally have 7 within the box. And they're looking to just run it right down our throats. And I mean, we got to fill our gaps, just do what we got to do.
Yeah.
Like I said, everybody knows their job and executes. We're gonna be all right. And on offense, like Aden said, they run a 4-3-4.
Okay.
And their safeties and corners, they're about 10, 15 off each. And their defensive line, we're gonna make a lot of adjustments to them. So however they line up, we're gonna adjust with that play. And we're just looking to do what we do.
Yeah, and you do it at your place, so that's it's always nice. I'm sure y'all are excited about the first home game of the season.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one because last year we lost this game in overtime.
Yeah,
and it was just such a heartbreaker because we had lost at Creekwood in overtime. Like it was like the same story.
It's kind of the revenge tour, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It would we play them in soccer, and they're always pretty good. And we actually tied them this year, which was super impressive, on our part. And but. Yeah, I would love to win this game because we went for an extra point and we were up 13-6, and they went for 2. It's very gutsy call right there, and they went for it and they got it, and that's how we left that field, and it was just stunk right there.
It's a bad taste in your mouth. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, you avenged one of those, so hopefully you can avenge this one this week, and we're going to be watching, tuning in, and excited about that. I'll be with Creekwood at Lewis County, and I'm excited about that one because I think Creekwood is going to get going this week. Too many skill players not to. I was impressed with their quarterback and their receiving core last week, and so we're going to see what they can do this week. And I'm going to be having an ear on what's going on at Dickson County as well, because I'm excited to see if y'all can keep this train rolling down the tracks.
Yes,
sir.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yes, sir. No problem.
I appreciate it. Justin?
Couple of announcements. I just heard not too long ago that due to the heat wave, it looks like we're going to push that game on Friday night over at the high school here in Dickson, the Dickson County High School, is going to be pushed back to 8 o'clock.
I heard that too. I hadn't heard anything about Lewis County and Creekwood. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but we hadn't heard. But we have heard that Dickson County, Columbia is going to be at 8 o'clock instead of 7 because of the heat.
Yeah, I believe that's official because I got an email from the boss man, Mr.
Yeah.
Coach Holly. So looks like we're going to push that game back. And also, he had mentioned a few days ago that they're going to do like a special thing for all the guys that graduated in the 70s. They're going to bring them back, free admission. I think he's got a T-shirt he's wanting to give them. So if you're watching and you graduated back, one of the first few classes in the 70s, they're really wanting you to come out to this game because the very first football contest for Dickson County High School was against Creekwood.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Columbia, excuse me.
You're the history guy, but I thought I saw that the very first football game for Dickson County was against Columbia.
Yeah, absolutely it was.
Yeah.
And they still got the football. It's at the high school.
And this was 1972?
72,
Okay.
fall of 72. And it's almost to the date. It may be the exact date.
Did
I can't
Dickson
remember.
County win that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were not favored to win that game.
Okay.
Columbia was favored to win that game. From what I've talked to from the guys who were on that team, I've had the pleasure of talking to a few of them. They said, look, we were not favored. People really didn't know what to think about us back then because they were combining 3 schools.
Yeah.
So you had like the core of Charlotte High School, William James High School, and Dickson High School all coming together, and nobody was really sure how that was going to mesh. You got coaches from each one, players from each one. How is this going to work? So they weren't favored in that first game, but they ended up having a really good season after winning that first game against Columbia.
Yeah. Yeah, some really good teams in the late 70s and into the 80s.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, make it to one of those games.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. We'll have a couple of guys from Creekwood on here. We don't know exactly who that's going to be yet. We've put in some requests, so we're going to get some of those guys next week. I hope you'll tune in for that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to hearing from some guys at Creekwood. Want to thank our guests here from Dickson County High School for visiting us. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be back for another show next week.
See you next